Alright everyone, give me just a second. Pulling up this list of tickers people are requesting to make sure I cover everyone's bases. Let's see. Today's going to be a pretty quick session. I got a bell here in like 20-30 minutes. So yeah, let's see. Let me drop this link really quick for somebody. Remind me, I need to go back and update the spreadsheet too, or some of the alerts if anybody's following along with those. But at any rate, let's dive into the charts, right? So I'm gonna start right here with Tesla. Same thing I posted on some of the analysis from yesterday. Ideally, we want to see Tesla for bullish momentum to maintain this solid uptrend. We really need to maintain that 396 level and ideally above this 379 range. You can see it already completed that move to the downside. It was measured there in pre-market previously, but right now we're consolidating in this zone. So what am I watching for on Tesla? I'm watching on Tesla, and I guess before I even talking further on Tesla, I'm going to state this now. I'm going to state it a bunch of times during this session. A lot is contingent on the FOMC meeting tomorrow, not on the rate decision itself, because pretty much everyone has already assumed that there's going to be no rate cut, no rate hike. It's staying status quo. More so, what people are going to be looking for is the market outlook. So it's going to be looking for basically dot grid, things like that, talking through what the outcome is going to be for. Oh, and click this. Sorry, the bit rate was throwing some issues. If y'all can't hear me correctly or if I sound off, please do throw a chat in so that I know that. But I'm going to keep cranking and assuming you can. So keep that in mind. FOMC tomorrow, several other key criteria that could impact things right now. So trading cautiously on most things that I'm swinging, mainly trading a lot of tickers, and I'll walk through some of those that maybe won't have as much influence with the rate decision overall, because there's so many other tickers, even small and mid caps, that aren't swayed so much. Big tech is most influenced by FOMC meeting. So ultimately, Tesla, what do we want to see? We want to see a hold of this range and ideally a push higher. You can see the measured move targets. If we can push back, break above that trend line, especially if we can get back above 414.50, that's a critical level. That was the previous all-time high, was 414.50. Definitely the level to keep an eye on with Tesla. I'm still in just a few of my covered calls. What are they, 221s I guess I'm in right now. Just to hedge some shares. I did buy to close some already from the previous batch. So watching this, if we get a big spike to the upside, I'll probably sell to open a little bit more covered calls just to be safe. But switching over from Tesla to NVDA, because this is the hot one for all of us right now. Caught some flack on NVIDIA yesterday with the post I put because I put both the bullish and bearish scenarios on it. People apparently don't like to hear that. But at any rate, still maintaining my NVIDIA shares. I wish I would have sold more covered calls than I did whenever we broke back under the 140 mark. But it is what it is, right? So writing it out right here because those are long-term holdings. Ultimately, in the next 5 years, I think NVIDIA is going to be strong. I'm not actively trading any swing calls or puts on NVIDIA in this zone just because things are still settling. While that's a strong bullish momentum candle and we got above the 126 level, 124 level that I really wanted to see, I'm being cautious here because we saw how dramatic of a reaction the AI type aspects can have yesterday. So as of right now, while this is a bullish sign, we're maintaining upward momentum. I love that we're back over that 124 to 126 range. I'm not going to trade calls or puts here when I can trade many other stocks that are in like very clear breakout setups that aren't kind of stuck at the weird in between, right? So keeping that in mind. Deej, reading your message. Here, hold on. So, yeah, NVIDIA. Yeah, if we break to the upside here, especially if we push back above that trend line with strong buying volume, which we saw some good volume today, NVIDIA can push hard. So definitely still love it long term. Big fan of NVIDIA. But ultimately what I'm looking for is, does it maintain that bounce momentum, or does news tomorrow or some other kind of random news related to tariffs or AI, a DeepSeek, is that going to cause an issue and cause us to drop? So watching this, because if we do end up losing that support range, I'll zoom in here, that way it's not so blurry. Cool, thanks for confirming, guys, appreciate it. What am I watching here? So I'm watching to see, do we hold the level and range, or if we end up losing the 117.22 support, that's where I would be much more concerned on NVIDIA. Like I said yesterday when I shared the analysis, like, I'm not actively trading calls or puts on NVIDIA in this range. Many other tickers I'd rather be trading right now with lesser premiums that offer better yields and risk to reward ratio. So great setup. I've loved it. Some of the guys over in the Discords I'm in today made some awesome gains on scalping some NVIDIA calls. Get it? Another setup that we've been trading made some freaking great gains today, Amazon. So this was a good example of something that, regardless of the broader move yesterday, had strong buyback yesterday without all the tanking with NVIDIA, and actually completed a strong move to the upside to complete this measured move that we had for the target. So for those that might think I'm a bear, I'm always looking at upside and downside targets. I just look at both sides. So this is looking great here. I did lock majority of my contracts on those Amazon swing calls, which it would be silly not to, because they were up big. I don't remember exactly what percentage they were up. Let me look real quick. So the Amazon calls, they went over like 80% at one point, I believe. So it'd been silly to not secure those gains at that level. Still going to ride some runners here and see what happens, because we're maintaining the bullish move, strong volume. Amazon's still looking solid. Apple is another one of my favorite little trades here, because I was super patient about entry on calls on Apple, and this is exactly why. So Apple, I waited until we showed clear signs of reversal into the demand zone. So one thing that one of the guys over in the Discord called out is the potential reversal candle here on the weekly, right? Now we need to see confirmation of follow through, so I started phasing in lightly on some calls for Amazon there. But those calls on Amazon today, you can see, I mean, even right there when they hit that level, they're at 155%. So I'm sorry, Apple, I don't know why I'm saying Amazon, they went over 200%. So great example of patience pays. You don't have to immediately start to try to add in as soon as you think something's going to hit a reversal point. Be patient, wait for the confirmation, trade it accordingly, right? So that worked out really well in Apple. I did trim a good bit of those because I saw the rejection here. I am still going to ride some runners out on Apple just because I want to see the bullish momentum, especially off this strong demand zone that we have here, off the historicals. I think that Apple's due for a nice little bounce, but ultimately I want to see it push back up. It broke out this downtrend here with good solid buying volume, so that's solid too. But, and also from a trend standpoint, like we were talking about yesterday, higher high, right? Instead of a lower high followed by a lower low. So higher high. So good trade there on Apple. Okta was another one that was freaking banger. Let's check this out. Calls went 430% plus today on Okta breakout. And what was I trading there? I entered the $9 calls with a reversal confirmation in the move to the upside after earnings. Let the contracts get IV crushed, and this is a good example of why you wait till after earnings and enter there if you're bullish on something, and if you see supporting options data for the trade. So right here on Okta, waited till earnings played out. You can't tell me 430% gains is missing out because I didn't trade earnings, right? So definitely great setup and trade there. Looking for more bullish momentum. It filled this gap to the upside there, so I locked a lot of gains there. Left runners because I want to see what that thing can do. So we'll see if that momentum continues with this breakout here on the daily and weekly. Again, like I mentioned earlier, for any of these I'm going through, FOMC tomorrow as well as other factors could impact a lot of this. Second. Sorry. Other tickers. What's in the request queue here? I'll click down through a few of these as we're going through. So AMD, another one that, like, ultimately you can't have a bullish bias on stuff like this because we got the breakout, but even today with NVIDIA having strong retracement bounce and everything, AMD is still lacking. So AMD is looking like it's going to continue this break to the downside of that bear flag, and we're still within trend here. Strong selling volume yet again today. It might reverse if it can hold that 114.84 level after retaking it, but as of right now, we got a lower low and lower high. So watch out for AMD if you're in it. I'm waiting. I really want to add longs to AMD, but I'm going to be patient on it because patience pays, right? So let's see. Google. So I'm digging the setup on Google. Like I mentioned on the live stream yesterday and before, I tread carefully with Google because a single antitrust lawsuit on Google can cause this sucker to dive hard within a single day. So I took a very light position today on some swing calls with the hopes and intent that I can take gains on those ahead of earnings next week. So they're up 5% or so today. Ideally, this reversal shows and plays and moves higher. Amazon we already touched on. Apple we touched on. Microsoft. Still watching both these setups here on the weekly. Not a big change. I mean, I love the bullish engulfing candle we have on the weekly right now, but they've got earnings tomorrow, so we'll see whether or not that bullish engulfing candle maintains or if it moves a different way. I'm not actively swinging any calls or puts on Microsoft. I've got some shares in one of my retirement accounts, but that's all the exposure I want right now. This setup here has the potential to break really hard in either direction in the coming weeks. So the earnings catalyst tomorrow is going to play into this to some extent, but this long period of consolidation we've had on Microsoft could either be very bullish and be bullish continuation if we break out to the upside. Alternatively, if this head and shoulders plays out and breaks the downside, it could get painful. So for me, risk to reward's not there. If you're trading it, best of luck. I think that there's a lot of potential both ways here. Ultimately, I don't like to trade a lot of earnings directly because IV crush if it stays within the implied move, which I haven't even looked to see what the implied move is on Microsoft yet. But either way, watching both of those setups because they're both in play here. Neither one of them has confirmed yet. Meta, another great breakout to the upside. Target I've got going on here. Let me remove this since it's not in play right there. But measured move on Meta would put it up there in that 680s range. It's trying to push and make its way up there. They also have earnings tomorrow, so keep an eye on that. See if that's a catalyst to push it higher, complete the measured move, or if that is going to... Stream froze momentarily. Not sure what's up on that. I think I'm back now. Netflix breaking out to the upside too here, right? So following earnings last week, another example of you can let some premiums get crushed and then enter. What I want to see is bullish momentum maintain on this. Right now, it looks like it's just kind of chilling and consolidating in the same zone we looked at yesterday. NVDA, we already talked through. Tesla, we talked through at the very beginning. SMH, similar setup kind of for Microsoft, right? So there's both bullish and bearish setups in play here. Ideally, we can push up here. We can fill this gap finally and form a higher high. But as of right now, we're chilling down here. So NVIDIA is driving a lot of the movement that you're seeing with SMH. There's a head and shoulders in play here as well as a potential bullish move to the upside if we can make a new high. But as of right now, you broke this uptrend and we're holding at this zone. If it loses this support level here, which probably honestly should be a significant one at this point. Loom is asking something here on the live stream. Let him know he's asking about options trading. QQQ. Let's look at QQQ real quick on the daily. So like Tonio over there mentioned, QQQ sitting on a pivot point. It's got the gap chilling above right there at 525.97. Also, if it can not push higher and actually confirm bullish momentum here, then it's going to drop. The measured move for the downside drop would put towards that gap fill towards 500. So definitely a pivotal moment like Tonio said. Sorry for all the minor support levels. We scalped it at some point in time. But if a lot of tech can get bullish momentum continued, if the AI concerns and stuff taper off, if FOMC is solid this week, we could see QQQ SPY and some of the tech tickers push to new highs. I'm not going to just bet on it though because I'm going to trade cautiously. I'd rather trade cautiously and carefully rather than tell y'all something you want to hear to get more followers. If you don't like it, apologies. I'm going to keep it real. But gap to the upside here on SPY, right? Gap to the downside on SPY. So both are still in play. A lot of these candles, while they try to recover some, we're still sitting at weird in between spots. IWM rejected off that trend line again. It looks like it wants to maybe try to bounce at that support zone again, but we'll see what plays out. Sorry, I'm talking through this stuff really fast real quick to make sure I cover a couple of these tickers for people before I have to wrap up. Daughter has gymnastics, I believe, tonight. So let's see. Let me pull up the alert list real quick. Make sure that I cover the basis on that. Palantir. Oh yeah, Palantir. Definitely. Glad you brought that up, dude. Let me grab it. Palantir. More calls, print money like crazy. Like I said on the stream yesterday, and I will continue to say, Palantir is one of my favorite stocks. I'm in shares down here at 1711, but I'm trading calls on multiple setups and time frames, right? So see how there's a very different setup going on here compared to a lot of those big tech tickers. Big, strong, bullish momentum candle here, but it also encapsulates multiple other levels, and this completely took up all the drop it had yesterday. So Palantir's continuing to look strong here. Fresh calls on this thing ripped again today, so I'm looking for more upward momentum here to maintain. Ideally, we get a breakout out of this bull flag to the upside and push over 100. Watch out for key psychological level of 100 though to see if there's some selling, but still loving Palantir here. Got a potential inverse head and shoulder setup forming there as well. Lots of bullish setup going on here for Palantir, so we'll continue to trade that. Let me jump over. Oh, he's asking for a link. Grab it. Alright, cool, got it. Let's see. We're trying to make sure I don't skip anybody's request here. I'm checking 3 different Discords, so please hang with me for a second. And Hood, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'll look at Twillo for you, James. So Hood continuing its bullish momentum, right? So Hood moving with crypto. Crypto's getting its bounce on, looking solid. Hood still doing great. So I didn't enter new calls yesterday, which I would have. I'm still in quite a few swing calls though for runners after covering my cost basis, and I'll continue to ride them out till this setup shows signs of changing. Twillo, so I'm actually not trading that personally, but I've been watching it closely because I was watching this bull flag breakout here, which freaking ripped with that big move, right? Also watching on a larger time frame here to see what we do above this level. So I'd be watching to see if it can maintain that push to the upside. If it can get past that 169 level, that'd probably be a good level to watch. Also watch that right there. Go back to daily for you at 154. So you've got a gap lingering to the downside here, so you want to be careful of that. I'm going to mark that with the dotted purple. If you don't know what I'm doing with different colors, look at the description because I'm very, very particular about the colors and legend I use for every line. That way it's very clear when looking across the 15-minute, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, doesn't matter. I know what the lines mean. So that's why I use that legend. But yeah, jumping back over here to the list, we already looked through Google. DraftKings, I went ahead and phased into a light position on some calls on DraftKings today because I'm digging that it's holding this breakout. So it's actually a bull flag here on the smaller time frame. The second time I won't dig in on that, but start phasing into some more calls on DraftKings here because it's pushing to the upside. So we'll see what happens there, especially heading into earnings. The setup's looking good. Bitcoin real quick because we can't forget Bitcoin because that's really going to be the driver for a lot of the other crypto tickers. People can keep on freaking out over Bitcoin. I'm going to keep on looking at this as we are maintaining the bullish setup on the larger time frame because ultimately that is what matters. I have large, long-term, significant holdings in Bitcoin and various other cryptos I've had since 2017. So with the little short-term drops, moves, all that doesn't bother me. Looking for bullish continuation to break out to the upside here. I won't crank through all the cryptos just because the sake of time, but trying to crank through any of these remaining tickers that people are wanting me to look at. real quick. Rivian, yeah. Rivian's another one of my faves, so I'm actually personally loving the slight pullback on Rivian. That's gonna sound weird, but like I really want to add more shares and longer term swing calls on Rivian in this zone. So back testing here is solid. I posted a fresh detailed TA for Rivian earlier today, so you have that. But started phasing into some fresh calls on Rivian yesterday and today, and we'll continue to add more calls once we kind of confirm a reversal at the support, which a lot of them are further out. But liking the setup here, I want to see a nice solid bounce and then continuation from there. Other tickers. No, Jared, you didn't miss crypto. I did like an abbreviated version of it. I'll try to do a separate session here in a little bit to actually dig in on crypto, trying to crank through really fast on some of these others before I have to go because my daughter's got gymnastics in cuts gaming. I trade various different things. So I trade swings, I trade day trades, I scalp trade, sell, multi-leg strategies if need be for selling premium. So I kind of trade a little bit of everything. So I'm not about trading one way, and big fan of doing different stuff because each chart's gonna be a little bit different in the way we need to trade it, right? So I hang out in the lounge and whatnot, and you can get a bit more details. But yeah, I will talk through that in more detail. How far out I go depends completely and totally on the trade, the setup that is at hand on the given ticker. If it's a setup that's on a smaller time frame or it's a more volatile move, I'm going nearer term so that we capitalize on that move percentage gain wise. If it is a larger time frame, longer term setup, then I probably will go more with longer term calls or longer term puts. I haven't traded very many puts the last couple of months on anything swings. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I swung any puts, but lots of calls on certain things because I think Chris said it well earlier today. Like I was telling people last week or Sunday, whenever we had the big dips in overnight hours trading, like regardless of what the broader markets are doing, there's always gains to be had on calls or puts on some ticker somewhere. So definitely big fan of trading both directions on any given setup. Any other last second tickers I need to do here real quick? I'm trying to look. Sound entered more shares on Sound finally today because it held the bounce. So I love this support as a long entry on Sound. Bullish engulfing just barely, but it's there. So I'm looking for bullish continuation if it can hold the support range and move back up on Sound. Added shares earlier today. They're already up. We'll also be adding some more long-term calls on it in addition to the existing ones I'm in. So Sound's looking solid. Check and make sure that I didn't skip past somebody. BB, yeah. Let me look at AI real quick for you, Stevie, because like I was telling Tony earlier today, like I wanted so bad to add heavy long calls on AI because like this is my favorite support to do that, right? I made myself be patient. So I'm not a damn bear for being patient. I'm being patient here because the AI news and the way it wreaked havoc on NVDA and several others, that dust hasn't fully settled yet. So I'm being patient here for one, to confirm that we hold the support bounce here, but also there's plenty of time to enter this thing in the next few days once we get past FOMC and the dust settles a bit more on the whole NVIDIA AI debacle that's going on with DeepSeek. So definitely watching this closely. I want to add shares and calls on AI again. Favorite spot to do that, but being patient about doing so. So ideally it holds the support range and breaks out to the upside with strong buying volume, and I will be all over that and enter calls at that point as well as shares, but being patient for the time being. Blackberry's maintaining that bullish setup. So this right here is why I haven't sold off my shares yet, as well as why I very, very lightly trimmed my calls to cover my cost basis, but I'm riding them out because the weekly here, the potential breakout, this thing can rip up past $5 easily if it gets some volume. BlackBerry also notoriously has been actual high short interest, and they're doing good stuff from a business standpoint. So watching this for a potential short squeeze, kind of like what we had on Invis play out. If you look at the daily on NVIS, where these candles right here were like 15%. Last week, big, huge 18-20% candles. So NVIS is actually another good one that it's back testing right now. If it can hold the support range, I need to put it on my list because I need to add fresh positions on that. So let me NVIS. Okay, cool. All right. Any other tickers? Ever do what? Zeros. I guess you're asking if I ever do 0 day to expiration. Yeah, absolutely. If it's a short-term time frame I'm trying to trade, I'll also trade futures. Started doing a Top Step account again because some guys were kind of competing on it, and I was like, I wanted to tinker with that. So, Tonio was asking about the Baba calls. Those things ripped. So yeah, those Baba calls, Tonio. I don't know how much they're up at this point. They were up big earlier today. Let's look at Baba so y'all can see what's going on here. Alibaba, right? So you can see here the breakout setup that I was trading on this thing with those calls. Entered the $100 call, so I'd have to go back and look at the date. But I mean, look at this breakout, right? Huge, massive breakout into earnings. They do have earnings tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there. Hopefully I don't get burned on the remaining contracts I have, but it's in post-market, so I'll probably be locking gains on most of those contracts tomorrow just to be safe. But I want to ride out some. So, yeah. At that, if there's any other tickers y'all want, shoot me a message. Like I always say, like happy to help, whether you're in any of the 3 Discords I'm in or not. Doesn't matter. If you've got questions, need help on something, hit me up on Facebook. I know most of y'all see me on Facebook or Twitter or here on YouTube. You can shoot me a message too. If you're in the Discords and you want to send me a message, tag me in the lounge or something first if you want, or you can just send me a message straight up and I'll jump in to help. Always happy to do TA on any tickers, even if it's not one that we're trading right here. If you want me to take a look at something for you. I'm not a finance professional, but I've been trading options in a lot of these stocks and crypto for years now. So, I mean, you can see that the TA is not terrible by any means, and it's pretty accurate. So, I say that if y'all need help on anything, again, feel free to reach out. Happy to help. But on that note, I'm going to wrap up. If there's other stuff y'all want me to take a look at, hit me up and we'll do that. But gotta go get the kids taken care of so daughter can go to gymnastics. But everyone have a great night. Good luck trading tomorrow. I'll try to do some streaming tomorrow or some updates, but have a good night, blessed night, have fun with the family.